Hello and welcome to Plus Exclusive. I am Bukky in November. My guest today is Tonto Dikeh, one of Nigeria's most controversial celebrities. She's an actor, a multi-award winner, a brand ambassador, and so much more. On this episode, Tonto uncovers the truth about the identity of Mr. X, gives a detailed analysis of how she met her ex-husband, Mr. Olakunle Churchill, and the reason why she never wanted to keep the pregnancy that led to their marriage. Tonto also reveals the relationship between former President Olusegun Obasanjo, her ex-husband, Mr. Churchill, and her son, King Andre. You will also discover her struggle with domestic violence, why her marriage ended, and so much more. Ladies and gentlemen, here's an exclusive, a one-of-its-kind interview with Tonto Dikeh. Since you came in, I've been looking at you from head to toe. Like, I can't take my eyes off you. You look so radiant.
Thank you.
I mean, have you had any work done?
On my body?
Yeah.
Obviously. Obviously.
So where exactly? Tell
By
us.
I'm a working construction. Like apart from my face though.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Looks beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's go straight into the gist today. Mr. X, tell us about Mr. X. Who is he? Who was he?
Well, it's a lot of memories. Yeah, Mr. X was someone I was heavily, stupidly involved in love with. We dated for quite a while, and I mean, it's no news. I always posted things about him. Never showed his face or anything, but I just kept it coming with him. He was actually a very nice person, and for some reason we just broke up. You know, things don't last, and I was so hurt, but I just moved on. Like, I tried as much as possible to move on, and that was when I met my son's father.
How long were you with Mr. X for?
I was with Mr. X for almost 2 years.
Wow,
yes.
That's a long time.
Yes, if you follow my Instagram, you would know. I was with him for almost at least a year and a couple of months, a reasonable couple of months. It was fun. So after we broke up, then I met my son's father. I actually met him in a nightclub. Escape nightclub at the moment, my friend's nightclub. Something I really never do. I never club. I never go out. I'm such like a very reserved person. But that day, I can't remember what we're celebrating. I think I was upset because my relationship broke up. So I and a past friend of mine, we went out to celebrate. Then I met him. That's how he came into the picture. I met him that night, and the next time we saw again, I met him there. Didn't go home with him, obviously. We just met him, and we got talking again after 3 days or so. Then I was just in a very difficult position emotionally where I was lost. I needed that same energy that I lost. I had made so much noise about my Mr. X, and now he's gone. And he wasn't just gone, he went to get married to someone else. So it was very painful. So with that, I want to be very thorough, so I had everything written down and had everything documented. I met him February 13th. Then we started to talk by 16th of February. And because of how vulnerable I was, I lost my relationship. It was a relationship of a lifetime for me. And I dove into that one relationship very fast, without investigation, without knowing him. We didn't get to know ourselves, and we just jumped into it. I think I was more of broken inside, and he was more of lost. So it was just how we met.
What year? What February 14th? What year?
February 14, 2015. That's when I met him.
Okay, so what were the
February
qualities?
13th, yeah.
Okay, so what were the qualities that attracted you to him? I know you didn't start talking until some days after, but what were the things you saw and you just felt, yes, I can actually have a relationship with this person?
Well, looking back now, the only quality I saw were all the lies. I was told so many lies to make one human being look so attractive. So I think I fell in love with the lies. I think I married the lies. So that was what it was.
Okay, so let's go straight up to the wedding. How long did you date for before you got married?
We dated for 7 months before my marriage. February, and we got married in August.
Okay, so, but very quickly, lies. What lies exactly? I mean, we know we see a lot of them, but what lies exactly attracted you? What lies would you say attracted you?
Actually, the first day I met him, he told me that he was a Obasanjo's son. And in the course of dating him, his mother told me she was a Obasanjo's wife. So many lies. The house I used to go to in Ghana, he told me was his house. It's not like I was out there looking for an established man, but I am Tonto Dikeh. I'm an established woman. I have to have some sort of stability in my life. So definitely, I would originally go for someone who is made or who have prospect to be made. The house he was living in Ghana, he said it was his house. It wasn't his house. I actually have proof of that. Some few months down, I think it was last year, the owners of the house came out and called me out for not paying rent and for leaving their house in a very awkward state. This is that, and on this document is some what they call it again? It was a message, yes, on my, yes, not a DM. It was an open message on my page. I posted a picture, and the person came to drop that comment, complaining that Churchill has run away from the house and did not pay his bills, and things were scattered and things were broken everywhere. And he told me he had that house. And before then, I had already found out that he wasn't the owner because this message came after we had broken up. So that was one of the lies. Even on the message, I went in the course of converting with the person. I told the person, I said, take this number and call that number. That is his mother. That is his mother's number. I didn't tell the person it was his mother's number. I said, call that number. It's an old woman's number, but I bet you she would tell you she does not know who Churchill is. It's all written there. Yeah. And she called the person, and the man called the woman. That's the London number, and the woman said, I don't know who Churchill is. Meanwhile, that is the mother's number that I know, that I speak to her with every single day since I dated her son until I got married to the son. So that was one of the lies.
Well, quickly, 2 questions. What is his relationship with Obasanjo and his mother's relationship with Obasanjo?
This is my son's father,
yes,
was a Liberian for Obasanjo. A Liberian for Obasanjo. His father, I heard, was a gardener for Obasanjo. And later on, he graduated to having, this is his father. Later on, he graduated to having a spiritual church of his own. That is his father. He graduated to having a spiritual church of his own, so he became more like a pastor afterwards. So the relationship is just like I have my staffs. I have staffs who have worked for me for some of them 10 years, 5 years. They feel like family to me. Sometimes they come to my house, we eat together. So that was the kind of relationship they had. Actually, he had told me so many stories of how, you know, as a kid, how you and your father would play, how you would steal your father's land and go and sell to be stubborn, how the other siblings don't like you, you know, just different bunch of bull. And of course, I did suspect that there was something wrong because he always said that Baba was a very tight-fisted person with money. And I mean, word have gone around that Baba does not really give money, which is Obasanjo doesn't really give money. So he wanted me to have the idea of rich kid, my father don't give me money, because while I was with him, I was still taking care of all of our bills.
Amazing. Amazing.
The day I went to see Baba the first time was when he introduced himself to me as not his father. The first thing he said, this is not my son.
And that
that's what the first thing Obasanjo said to me. I'm calling Obasanjo's name. I'm not going to be lying with his name.
And you met Obasanjo just before
that day? No, just that day. No, the introduction, my introduction to, I had 2 introductions, one for Obasanjo and one for my family. So the day I met Obasanjo was the day he told me. So that was like the verbal confirmation that these people were lying all along. And this is what they tell the general public. Half of Nigerians think that he's Obasanjo's son. In fact, some of them, when the light doesn't enter, they now say that he's the grandson. But my son has no blood relationship with his Obasanjo. If he did, I'll be proud. I mean, it's something, right? So, but he doesn't.
Okay, so quickly, back to the house in Ghana. How much were they asking you to pay?
They weren't asking me to pay anything because I don't know them. All they were asking is that someone come and take care of the bill.
And they didn't tell you how much it was?
I didn't care because I don't live there. I knew that before I left the house, I had my son's things there. I even asked them to give me a picture of the property because he actually said my son. He called my son's name. He said, your son's things are scattered. He even said we're dirty, we're pigs. That's the way the state of the house was. Meanwhile, I haven't been to the house in almost 8 months. So.
Okay, so on the day of the introduction to Obasanjo, why did you go ahead with it after realizing that there might be something shady going on here?
I was already pregnant. And prior to being pregnant, I had never been pregnant for 7 years. I've been in a relationship, and as a woman, it's not like I've been extremely careful. You know how we women, I've not been extremely careful, but I just never gotten pregnant for over 7 years, and he came along and I got pregnant. My pregnancy was not something I ever wanted to keep. I always say it. Before now, I said I never wanted to have children. My decision. But a friend of mine convinced me the day I found out I was pregnant, and my son's father was crying and begging me to keep that pregnancy. I didn't know why he wanted it so much more than me, that I would be a mother. I didn't even think I would be a good mother. But that was not the reason why I didn't want to have children. I had emotional issues, mommy issues on my own, that I didn't want to bring a child into this world without being okay with it first. So I wasn't ready, but Folake, God bless you. Thank you so much. She talked to me, she explained to me what a child coming into my life would do for me, and everything she said was true. Everything she said. And I'm so happy. That's one decision in my life that I'm so happy that I did.
I can see the joy over here. Okay, so but there's this story we saw online, of course, about you losing a 4-month-old pregnancy. How true is that?
Well, it wasn't 4 months old. Pregnancy wasn't 4 months old. It was barely, maybe 2 months. That was after King. My marriage was filled with so much lies that sometimes when he gets caught up in a lie, it results to violence. We fought all the time. Before we got married, and even after we got married, it was a fighting thing. It was, I mean, look at what we do on Instagram. It was more like that. It was more like that. I mean, it was like hell on earth in the house every single day. So domestic violence was something that was real, was always there in my relationship. I mean, there was a time in Ghana that this man literally beat me. I was bleeding. I said it before and I'm saying it again. I ran into the Nigerian embassy almost naked.
Naked, I saw.
Yes, almost naked. And I took a lawyer from Nigeria. I can't remember his name, but Mercedes. I don't know if you know Mercedes. She's actually in the industry. She's actually in management. She has a management company that manages artists and manages brands. She was managing me at that time because she was one of the people who actually sympathized with me and said they wanted to help. So we went to Ghana to find proof because the policemen that came from Ghana said otherwise. So we went to Ghana and she found out that it was true. The only reason why we don't have documents from the Nigerian embassy is because there is no record. The person who was in charge was Mr. Poco. That's how I know him. His name is Mr. Poco. Okay. I actually remember that name because I have a nickname that is Poco.
Yeah.
So yeah, his name was Mr. Poco, and he was the one that treated my case. But we did meet the lady behind the camera who took the pictures, and she told me, they said, yes, she came in bleeding and her clothes were torn. So they confirmed it. The thing about Nigerians is that journalism in Nigeria is that nobody wants to investigate anything. Everybody just wants to say, oh, that's why I brought all these documents. I don't want hearsay. No, my documents are all here. So if I'm saying it and I'm proving to you that this is what happened, you know, so that's why we don't have documents from the Nigerian embassy in Ghana.
Okay, so quickly, back to the pregnancy.
Yeah.
It was while you were still married
Yes,
to him?
yes, while I was married
Under
to
what
him.
circumstances? Was it through the abuse you lost?
It was
the
true,
baby?
of course, true abuse. He pushed me down. My former house we had one staircase here, we had another one here. So I was already coming out from his room. He's like in the penthouse. So I was coming out from that place. So he pushed me. We're fighting in there. So I was trying to just leave the place so I could get myself again. Because sometimes when I'm in such a high spirit, I don't breathe. So I was trying to run out of the room and he pushed me down. He actually used his leg to push me. So I rolled like 2 steps down. I rolled 2 steps down. He continued again. But you see, the thing is, a lot of people will say, oh, you know, domestic violence, why didn't you leave? There are too many reasons why I didn't leave. I was pregnant for this man already. I had a child for this man. And even before I married him, you know, it was something that, it's something that he would always come back to beg. In Ghana, I was literally beaten on the street to a hotel. I mean, this hotel have names. It's there. It's something that anybody can confirm. Workers saw what happened. His friends saw what happened. The police saw what happened. They were actually begging me to take the case of the police. And I said, no, I wanted to. I took them to police. It was not the other way. He said, when the story came out, I just get so shocked, like, what's happening? I was the one that said, okay, you know what? I'm not going to let this rest. Let's go to the police station. It was not the other way around.
Well,
yeah, so I lost 1 pregnancy after King, and I had gotten into 7 domestic violence fights.
Amazing.
With King's father.
Quickly, domestic violence, whatever level of it, it's not acceptable.
Yeah.
Whether against women especially.
Yeah.
But then, I'd have to ask you, do you remember what led to that particular fight?
Okay.
Or what you did, or what you said, maybe something
You see, the
triggered
man
it?
I got married to is a narcissist. He's very manipulative, he's evil. He's the most evil person I've ever come across. I mean, his ex-wife will tell you that. He doesn't stay at home. He said we were married for 6 months, right? We were married for 10 months. We lived together for 10 months. I don't know where this guy's brain is. We lived together for 10 good months. Maybe 6 months because he knows that the other 4 months it was where he was getting missing. Sometimes in the middle of the night, I wouldn't see him. He would just wake up and leave. Sometimes 2 days, 3 days. I mean, the last fight, before the last fight, the last fight had been brewing. Before the last fight, he traveled with his girlfriend, the Nollywood girl. He traveled with her for over a month and for almost 2 months to Europe. And meanwhile, this Europe that he's traveling to, before I met this man, he had never traveled outside this country apart from Ghana in his life. I remember when I was pregnant and I was running everywhere, helter-skelter to look for visa for this man so he could come at least witness the birth of his child. I even had to stoop so low to go to Nollywood. And I asked the director, I said, give me an invite. Okay, they were inviting me for an event in America. I said, you know what, give me 2 invites. I want to invite my manager. I put him there shamelessly as my manager. And even when I went to the embassy, they still rejected him because I think he had a record. So somebody who, you know, this Yahoo thing is it's a very messy business.
Oh, true.
So they have a lot of people working for them. So they have people in embassies that will tell them, you know, you have this problem, you know what, don't apply now, or all this kind of thing. So when he checked, they said, okay, you know what, you have to travel to 1 or 2 countries before you come back to another country. That was the first time he ever went to South Africa. This guy has never left the country, never left the shores of Africa.
So now that you mentioned the staircase issue and pushing you down, I remember seeing a tweet where you posted that you didn't push his mother down the stairs. Could you please explain what happened?
You see,
there?
My son's father wanted to create a distraction from the fact that he's a very violent man. He might not physically show it in his face. I might be the one who is chatty and talky, but he sits down to plan it. I'm going to show you a lot of things that will make you understand how manipulative this man is. He sits down to plan every single move. So when the news came out of him and the actress girl being involved as boyfriend and girlfriend, he wanted a distraction. to say, okay, you know what? No, that's not the reason why my marriage is breaking up, because she pushed my mother down. How in the world would you push someone's mother down? And you know, the thing is, the house, it was a new house. His mother just bought herself a house. She works in a mental home in London. The mother, Kunle's mother.
Yeah.
He works in a mental home. And she's one woman that I know that she hustles. Do you understand? So I know how many jobs she tries to keep up to be able to pay her way through life. And I know that she's a single woman. So she got herself a house, December period. That was 2016. That was a house he's lying about that he bought.
I was actually going to say that.
Because I mean, it's okay if you buy your mother a house. I mean, I'm not definitely, even if you ask the mother, she's going to say her son bought it for her just to cover the shame. But the house that I lived with this guy was a rented apartment. We rented, I mean, the whole, what they call that thing again, service apartments, fully furnished. The only thing we brought into that home was pillow. Just pillows and dining table. That's what the house didn't have. The house had up to flowers. It was fully furnished. I think the name of the owner was Alhaji Mustafa. I also have proof of that the house was actually rented, not bought. We rented that house for 18 million. That was the house he said he bought.
That's 18 million per annum.
18 million, no, for 2 years. We rented for 2 years, yeah. It was a 2 years rent. We rented it for 2 years. So when he said that I took away things from the house, I had trailer load of things and I packed away things, I don't understand. The estate we're living in is Brains and Hammers. Brains and Hammers is actually the biggest estate in Nigeria at the moment. They have records of everything in the world that concerns them. If you rent a property, before you, in fact, the trailer that I used in packing out of my home, of the home, was actually sat outside for, it sat outside for almost 3 days because they had to go around the house and investigate that nothing was missing before they could let me go. Now, this is the agents, these are the documents, these are conversations between I and the agents who rented us the house we lived in, that he said that he bought and kept me and his son in it. Those are the documents when I was telling the guy about things that were not right in the house,
yeah, I see
how
that.
much we paid and everything. So you see, so when he says that he bought his mother a house, I mean, I'm not the devil. My son one day will want to buy me a house. I'm not going to say, but don't lie about it. At some point you will. God will bless you to that extent, but don't lie about it now. His mother bought herself a house.
And this agent's name is Richard, yeah?
Yes, that's the guy's name, Richard.
Yeah.
The estate is Brains and Hammers Estate. I lived in number 13 Kingsway. I can remember it because it's my son's name. 13 Kingsway Street, Brains and Hammers, Life Camp. And my agent was Junior. And my landlord was Alhaji Mustafa. Yeah.
Okay, so back to that day at his mother's house. Because what we see online, of course, or what he said in interviews or during interviews, is the fact that he bought the house for his mother. You came into the house and you started breaking things.
That's not true. I lived in that house. We came from Lagos. It was a trip of my mother just bought a house. Let's go and help her set the house in order so that we can, so that when she comes, she can meet her house in order. So I was like, okay, you know what? Let's go. We went to, I was living in the house. I stayed in the house for over a week.
This house is in Lagos?
Of course, that house is in Lagos. It's behind Spa. It's not in an estate. It's one of those
houses.
Yeah, along the slums. Yeah. So I was there for over a week, arranging this place before that last fight. So there was no way. I mean, you see, even on my conversation with Azuka, the lady he bribed, there's the what's her name? Azuka. What's her name? Yeah, Media Room Hub, the girl, yeah.
Oh, okay.
She was bribed by him, by the way.
Oh, I saw the interview.
Yeah, before that, I told her, I said, you know what? Why is Chochi trying to explain too much? If I was a man and a woman tells me that you hit me, and I have cameras at every angle of my house, I will bring those pictures out. I would let the world know what a monster this girl is. This that you hid the footage from the CCTV camera. You didn't want to release it because you know how much you beat me on that footage. Even your mother was holding you. The mother fell. I know I saw the mother fell.
Okay.
But she was holding her son, trying to drag her son. The brother was trying to hold me. So the son did like that.
Oh, and that was
and
when
the mother
she fell.
And he now said, "Oh, you fell, my mother." And he just on my face. And his brother held me this way. Even on the interview, the brother would tell you that I beat him. If he wasn't holding me that way, there was no way for me to have beaten him here. It was a self-defense thing. The mother was there, the brother was there, even an ex-friend of mine was there. I was beaten from upstairs to downstairs. I'm a very strong woman.
The conversation is not over. On the next episode, Tonto Dikeh reveals how she discovered her ex-husband was involved in Yahoo, her relationship with Mr. Churchill's ex-wife, and so much more. Tune in this Saturday from 1:30 p.m. to watch this Plus TV Africa exclusive. My name is Bukky November. See you on the next episode.
I lost money marrying him. I lost money feeding him. I lost money clothing him. I was so stupid. The whole time when we were dating, he was broke. He never told me he did Yahoo. So there was no way I would stoop low to marry a fraud person, a Yahoo boy. When Churchill said that my marriage was actually like a script, he was not lying.